My 6-day fishing adventure in Montana's Middle Fork Flathead River began in Kalispell, where I chartered a flight from Montana Air Adventures to drop me off in the wilderness. We would be flying in a little Cessna 206. The flight is less than 30 minutes. This is the Schafer Meadows airstrip. There is a ranger station and small campground nearby. From mid-June to mid-July, the area receives 10 to 20 airplane drop-offs of anglers per day to float the river. It gets crowded then. By mid-August, there's usually no one here because the river becomes too low to float. It is a short hike from the campground to reach the Middle Fork Flathead River.
It's a nice one. Ah! That was a nice fish. I mean, that was a really big one. That was a nice one. It got away.
The fish got away because I failed to use enough force when I set the hook. I have worked very hard since then to correct that habit. I tell you, it was really great to be so far in the wilderness and literally have the whole river all to myself. The next day, I hiked a couple miles further upstream and resumed fishing where I had stopped the previous day.
Nice trout on the Bitch Creek. My first fish on that fly.
A few weeks ago, this area had a heat wave with temperatures reaching 100 degrees. On this day, there was a cold spell with drizzle and temperatures barely reaching 50 degrees. If I hadn't brought my neoprene gloves, I would not have been able to fish.
Nice fish on the Bitch Creek.
After a while, the wind picked up, making fly casting difficult. Fortunately, my 9-foot 5-weight custom-made spin fly rod can handle both a fly reel and spinning reel with equal effectiveness. So I just swapped in a spinning reel and fished a spoon with a fly trailing behind. That worked pretty good.
Not bad. That weighs about 12 inches.
The third day was cold again. I decided to hike a couple miles to Schafer Creek. This was a smaller stream that held smaller fish, but I tend to really enjoy those little creeks. Large bull trout are known to swim up into Schafer Creek. I didn't see any bull trout, and it isn't legal to target them either.
Schafer's on the right, Dolly Varden Creek is on the left.
Upstream of Dolly Varden Creek, Schafer Creek gets smaller but still has some really good-looking spots. On day 4, I followed some advice from a ranger and hiked 5 miles downstream on the east side trail in search of better water. That morning, I also realized I had only brought 5 days worth of food, and this was a 6-day trip. From then on, I had to ration my food and only eat when necessary. There were a lot of great-looking spots in this section, although only a few of them produced any fish.
Raspberries.
Here I ran into some serious trouble. I could not get back on the east side trail due to high cliffs. I expected the west side trail to be accessible from the river, but it too was up high on a ridge and inaccessible. I had just seen a grizzly on the other side of the river and did not want to be bushwhacking in the dark. I had to wade 2 additional miles upstream until I finally reached Porter Creek. This stream was very difficult to navigate due to multiple beaver dams and dense vegetation, but I was eventually able to follow it to the west side trail just as darkness came and then hike the remaining way by trail to my campsite. On the 5th day, I hiked a couple miles downstream and resumed fishing the Middle Fork.
Nice fish on the net.
There were a few good-looking spots in this area, and I caught a few fish, but generally it was shallow and did not have the fish-holding structure like the section further downstream. On the 6th day, I was going to get picked up in the afternoon, so I got up early and tried to fish Dolly Varden Creek for a few hours. Due to the rain and lack of time, I didn't fish it as much as I'd wanted, but it really looked nice. My pilot had told me it was extremely rare for weather to ever prevent a plane from picking someone up. I was out of food, hungry, cold, wet, tired, and really expecting that plane to arrive on time. After a couple hours of waiting, a ranger finally told me the plane would be delayed by a day due to bad weather. He then very generously gave me a day's worth of food from the big underground reserve stockpile they have. After several days of rationing food, I could finally eat as much as I felt like. It was time to fly back. Where was my plane? Is that my plane? Finally, my plane arrived, and soon I was up in the air on my way back. I hadn't caught as many fish or as large of fish as I had expected, but I still had a great time fishing in the remote wilderness with several streams all to myself.